Alright, sorry about that. Had to do the sharing on the socials, you know how that goes. Okay. So let's move this while it's drying over here. Okay. You get that right over there. Area up a bit.
Climate friendly, as the industry says.
Get a little radio happening.
I just was curious to ask you what you think of the label renewable natural gas.
That's a good question.
And let's see what we bought for groceries. Bag number 1. Bag number 2. These 2 bags cost me $82 Canadian. Yeah, for these 2 bags. $82. 4 loaves of bread. No? Yeah, 4 loaves of bread at $2.50 a piece, but $2 if you buy more than 2. There you go. I've got to put those in the deep freeze. So, for now, I'm just going to slide them right over here. There. What else have we got? We got celery for our pasta. We got beans for our baked beans, which we're going to put to soak later on. Peppers for the pasta. Mushrooms for the pasta. 4 cans of mushrooms. 2 cans of pasta paste, tomato paste. 1 can of tomato sauce. 2 cans of tomato sauce. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. 1 pouch of pasta sauce mix. Sweet green relish for my tuna sandwiches. Molasses for the baked beans. Mac and cheese for lazy day lunches. Trail mix for morning breakfast. Salt pork for the beans. Hamburger. And hot dogs for the beans. We got a lot of hamburger for the pasta. I didn't get any sausage this time. And that's it. That's all she wrote.
Unfortunately, it's really greenwashing. So something that he failed to mention is that right now, only 1% of the natural gas that is delivered to our homes is renewable. So, only 1% is still gas in our gas. The problem is that the majority of the other gas is almost entirely fracked gas, which comes from a really polluting process in Northwest BC called hydroelectric. And with my work with the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, I've spoken with different families and farmers and physicians from Northeast BC where fracking is happening, and they actually call it the sacrifice zone. And I think the problem with teasing out these health impacts is that the populations are so small that it's really hard to get significant statistical significance when you're trying to analyze trends in disease. So I think they're really some of the best evidence that we have to go on. Farmers have also told me about relentless noise and light and air pollution from flare stacks that is keeping them awake at night. I think we also have to concern about the water that is used in fracking. That's right. So each fracking operation, so each well from the beginning of its drilling to the end of its fracked gas supply, it uses tens of millions of liters of fresh water, and typically this, at the end of the cycle, is polluted. They cannot return it to the freshwater cycle. And in a situation in BC where we're seeing extreme heat, where droughts are on the horizon because of climate change, it makes no sense to be giving water for extremely cheap rates to these companies to kind of extract natural gas from the ground when the climate change that drives is actually driving the droughts that are leading to water shortages. So it's just this vicious cycle, and it's definitely not good for the health of our ecosystems or for people.
Now eventually that natural gas that is retrieved from fracking eventually ends up being used in homes, or at least part of it. That's something that you are all
Gosh darn it.
of the problem. Why?
So when we cook with gas stoves, this releases a number of different pollutants into the air, including formaldehyde, carbon monoxide, and nitric oxide. And actually in 2015, Health Canada released new indoor air quality limits on nitrogen dioxide exposure, which is generated when you burn natural gas, as I mentioned. So,
Oh well, let's get this going.
Canada do not even come close to meeting these air quality standards, and research shows that this
All right, first we need the big pan.
is for
Get that going.
adults. And so
Put that on medium heat,
renewable or natural,
and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil always helps.
renewable or not, it's still
Just on the bottom.
supply chain. It still causes air pollution when we burn it out.
Renewable natural gas
That's so
isn't derived from
we avoid things from sticking.
some of the components we have around natural
We'll
gas.
get that on first.
Well, I think the concept of renewable natural gas in general is a reasonable one. Capturing methane that would otherwise be freely
This is our hamburger. Should get a garbage bag.
that these sources of renewable gas themselves aren't highly carbon intensive to produce. And so the problem, I think, with the proposal by the club with natural gas utility in our province is that they're trying to we have electric, clean, solar sources of energy that can power our homes and cook our food. There are some industries right now that are challenging to electrify, like for example long-haul shipping or aviation. So the supply of natural gas or renewable natural gas will be generated in states for those industries, not in home heating.
No, we talked to you about studying global warming and British Columbia over the past year, the wildfires to the deadly heat. As a doctor, how has climate change affected your work?
I would say that I just threw in
Really interesting about the effects of climate change.
2.5 kilograms of hamburger.
It's one disaster that affects COVID-19.
2.5 kg of hamburger.
This is going to
We'll let that brown.
more mental health concerns in my family.
Now we've got our meat.
And interestingly enough, early on in the pandemic, that's not what I saw.
See, because I labeled them. These are the meats,
Summers in a row.
and here is the pasta sauce.
When the flooding happened, when I really saw a spike in mental health concerns in my family, because
For spices,
not only was it
I like to use garlic powder, of course. I have a nice spice rack right here. I like garlic powder. I also will use a little tiny bit of curry sometimes, or chili if I want a little Mexicana flavor. Mexicana. Now that's going to take a little while for it to thaw up. What I need, actually, what I would really like to have is a splatter, something to prevent the splatter from happening.
Specifically after I read Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything book, I can remember the exact moment. I was in Montreal with my 3-month-old baby. He was on
So while that's browning, I suppose what I could do is get the beans ready. Now for the beans, it's Mom's baked beans recipe. This is her recipe, which was Grammy's recipe, and God knows where that came from. But this has been passed on, parent to child. So I need a pound of beans. Pound of beans, huh? Pound of beans, we just say, we need a bag of beans. So you let the beans soak in overnight with a pinch of ginger. Put in just enough water to cover it. Here's our beans. So we put our beans in there. And now we just put enough water to cover it. These are going to soak overnight. There you go. That's perfect. So it's basically 6 cups roughly. And then a little bit of cumin. Or ginger, sorry. Ginger is the secret ingredient. That's what removes the snappers. And a pinch means just literally that. Just a pinch. Bam! There you go. So that's a pinch of ginger. And I'll give it a little stir. And these are going to sit Actually, these should have been put in yesterday to be cooked today, now that I think of it. Okay, we're going to cover these. And they go in the fridge for 24 hours. Okay, so that's in there. Fat is starting to render off of the ground beef. I wonder if I should begin to move this. Spices. Garlic. A lot of it. And I do mean quite a bit of it. A lot of it. We like the garlic. Garlic is good. That was a lot of garlic. Okay, next ingredient, Himalayan pink salt. Not a lot. I'm not a big salt fan. Just a couple of pinches. About that much. Not a lot. And pepper. My pepper. My salt, quite a bit of pepper. That should do it. Oh yeah, that's really starting to smell nice now. What do you want, kitty? What do you want? I've been working 2 jobs and I get 1 day off today. And I just got to thinking that 1 day off is not enough for anyone. You can't dedicate your life to 6 days a week working for someone else and only allow yourself 1 waking day to do your house chores, to have family time, to have self-time, to take care of your own personal affairs. 1 day is not enough. You need 1 day just to reset from the past week of work. I think optimally I would need 3 days off. 1 day off to reset, a second day off for household and family matters and whatnot, and then the third day off just for me. Oh yeah, the fat's coming out now. I'm listening to music in my ear that you can't hear. So I'm just dancing to like silence and my voice, I guess, according to the people watching. Someone said hydrate, so I should hydrate. This is an all-day affair. Takes, I would say, before it gets to the point where you can just let it simmer and go away from the kitchen, it takes about 90 minutes, at least in my kitchen. Normally the ground beef is frozen, so it's going to thaw out. In this case, I have one package of fresh ground beef that I bought today, and I have a frozen package of ground beef that I bought a few weeks ago. So that takes a little while to thaw out. And then after that, it does take some while to prepare all of these ingredients here. I mean, there's 3, 6, 8, there's 10 cans of product, 6 peppers, and a bundle of celery. So it takes a little while to prep it all. But the end result is worth it. I end up with 14 containered meals. Same with the beans. Takes a little while to prep it. I generally don't like to work more than an hour to prep. It's an hour and a half in this case, and that's all right. But generally more than an hour for prepping and getting it all ready, and then it sits on the stove and does its magic all day long. I like to do that on the weekends and my day off. Save some money. It works out to about, and I'm a big eater, so my portions are fairly large, and it works out to under $4 per portion, not including the pasta itself. If I did that, it would be just under $5, like a meal. I try to keep my grocery budget every 2 weeks at around the $100 mark, $50 a week. And I'm doing so many things to try to cut costs. No name brands, Compliments brand, President's Choice brand, you know, all of those cheaper brands. Switching brands, going from butter to margarine. Ugh, I hate margarine. Just lower quality product.
I understand that this kind of thing is already in place in California as well. Yes, so in markets around North America, like DC and California, where they have a low carbon fuel standard in place, this is a policy that really incentivizes the use of lower carbon liquid fuels or diesel fuels. And so in those jurisdictions where the policy is in place, there's an incentive to sort of create renewable fuels or fuels that have a higher renewable content, like RNG or others. And so in those markets, they are actually incentivized to use RNG, and so it has reached a greater market penetration than areas.
Still got a big old frozen slab of ground beef in there. Let's see here. Can we do this? It's gonna have. Whoa! Careful now. Careful now.
Is there even enough gas then to switch all the trucks in Canada over to renewable natural gas?
So I would say likely not. We don't use our best estimates that the supply of RNG here in Canada is very limited. And while the Cabinet Institute advocates for us to sort of save that RNG, that limited supply for sectors in which natural gas is required to replace. And I would say, long haul heavy-duty trucking, where you've got trucks operating using quite a carbon-intensive fuel right now, that would be one of the sectors that is well suited for the transition.
Can't wait till live streaming comes up with Smell-O-Vision. Where is it? Ah, there you are. Ah, there you are. I keep looking up in this corner here for some reason, but the camera's right there. I gotta remember. You know what? They should design a live stream camera in the shape of a human head, so that the camera lens itself is like right in the center of the head. So you're looking, or in one of the eyes or something like that. So you know, look here. Or maybe there should be like a red light on there or something like, look there.
Now the question arises for the ability of battery electric technology to meet the needs of heavy-duty trucks, particularly those that are most energy-demanding, operating long hauls and transporting really heavy loads. We don't necessarily have the battery density right now to meet the needs of that sector, and so as a result, RNG is one of the fuels that can step in to sort of fill that gap.
As a bridge or as a permanent? As a bridge. Maddie, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All of this talk about renewable natural gas got me thinking a little while ago about where this started to come from, because it's not new using organic waste as energy. And that took me into the realm of dog poop. And I'll have you know, just a few years ago, a man in the United Kingdom used dog poop to power a street lamp, and it worked. And so we've come from that to this. So hey everybody, CBC actually has a new web page, and it is dedicated to climate change news. You can get everything you're looking for of what's going on in climate, what the impacts are, potential solutions. Everything is right there. cbc.ca/news/climate. It's the place to go for all of CBC's climate coverage. It's new. Check it out. That does it for us this week. If you missed any of the show, just head over to CBC Listen. You can catch up on old episodes on demand and subscribe to our podcast. This week's episode was produced by associate producer Serena Renner and producer Molly Siegel. The What On Earth team includes associate producers Danielle Piper and Devin Nguyen. Our engineer is Matthias Wolfson. This week, Rachel Sanders is our senior producer. I'm Laura Lynch. Thank you for listening.
This is CBC Radio 1, 90.5 FM in Halifax. This week in the Samaritan Life, 25-year son Noah was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting, and then against Iraq. The people who believe Sandy Hook was fake, and no one didn't die. In fact, Noah wasn't even his son. When he gets death threatened, he had to move over a half dozen times. But when he decided to fight back, he was good at fighting back. This week, This American Life with Ira Glass. Tonight at 8, 9 Atlantic, 9:30 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app. The CBC News is next, and then it's the cost of living with Paul Habershrud. Hackers are now hijacking Instagram accounts and holding them for Bitcoin ransom. Not an issue for the local haberdashery back in the day, but for small businesses that now rely on social media, it's a problem.
This is CBC News. It's 12 o'clock. Good afternoon, I'm Sarah.
Boom! It's noontime.
2 people were killed in a 2-car crash near Barnabas, New Brunswick this weekend. RCMP say they were called to the crash on Route 8 at 1:40 yesterday afternoon. Police are investigating what happened, but they believe the car crossed the center line and collided head-on with a pickup truck. Both occupants of the car, a 72-year-old woman and a 55-year-old woman, both from the F, died at the scene as a result of their injuries. The driver and sole occupant of the pickup was taken to hospital, but is expected to survive. Route 8 was closed for about 5 hours last evening and reopened at about 6 o'clock. After weeks of relative calm, Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, has again come under Russian attack. Several rockets hit the city today. Russia claims to have destroyed tanks supplied by Europe, but the heaviest fighting remains in eastern Ukraine, especially in the key city of Severodonetsk. where there are reported street-by-street gun battles. Capturing the city is key to Russian control of the Luhansk region. Meanwhile, Russia's foreign minister says Western sanctions will have no effect on his country's oil exports. Sergei Lavrov also says he predicts a big jump in profits from energy shipments this year. European Union leaders agreed last Monday, in principle, to cut 90% of oil imports from Russia by the end of this year. Lavrov says there's a demand for Russian oil and the country's access to alternative markets. Back here at home, the federal government is legislating to create monthly benefits for working age Canadians with disabilities.
Ah, this is kind of a crappy tripod. Look at that cooking away, though. She's cooking away. Ah, this is kind of a crappy tripod. Look at that cooking away, though. Cooking away.
Transportation costs for disabilities that require special transportation, or they might even introduce a mandatory subsidized housing for people with disabilities. That way it would give us many more options for places that we can stay and live and be able to get by.
Kelly is unemployed now that does a lot of short-term contracts. He wants the benefit of being available too. The office of Carlos Waltro, Federal Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Disability Inclusion, the details of the benefit will be informed by further engagement with persons with disabilities and the provinces and territories. With album Mi'kmaq Elder, a community PI has brought a 22-year-old prayer circle back to life. Tony Davis is tested.
Junior Peter Paul leads a smudging ceremony near a circle of rocks at the edge of the border.
Ooh, it smells good.
The prayer circle was created back in 2000 to honor Mi'kmaq who used the area in the past, but it hadn't been well.
Okay, might be time for the big bowl.
Peter Paul has helped rededicate sites for indigenous nations across North America, and says he was particularly honored to help with this one so close to home. He says he'll be back to visit when he can.
If you hear me 5:30 in the morning, singing a song, I'm just doing my conference. They were going
Tony Davis, CBC News, Charlottetown.
And milk prices in Canada could be going up for the second time in a year. Dairy Farmers of Canada has asked the Canadian Dairy Commission for a median milk price hike due to the current inflationary environment. Federal body oversees Canada's dairy industry and supply management system says the milk price increase could effect in September. That's the news. Now look at the weather forecast. Some scattered showers today and some sun periods. Temperatures 15 to 20 degrees. Tonight mainly cloudy. Still a chance of showers and a low around 8 degrees overnight. And tomorrow, mostly sun and clouds for Nova Scotia, mostly cloudy for PEI, and mostly sunny for New Brunswick. Highs of 14 to 17 degrees, up to 20 or 21 in New Brunswick. And looking into the week, Tuesday, sunny day, across the maritime, at 23 to 25.
Coming up on the Hollywood.
I think I was still middle class at the time, because everything else was more affordable. But now that everything's increased, with 2 jobs in middle class, it was the one absolutely not, because I can't do it.
Elsie McFarland works 2 jobs, more than 60 hours a week. She's not getting ahead. She's just trying to stay even with the rising cost of living. Hi, I'm Paul Abertree. Welcome to the Possibilities. What does it take to hold together house and home with inflation at a 30-year high? For more Canadians, like Elsie McFarland, it now means working 2 jobs.
Okay, we got our celery chopped up.
If you've been watching the marks lately, you know
Okay, we got our celery chopped up.
the last 2 years were pretty much straight up. But now, big cracks are starting to show. But in November, in the thick of the good times, we have people to make forecasts for the TSX, Bitcoin, and oil. Then we see how they did by the middle of this year. But now, it's June, the moment of truth. How good were their predictions? Heck, how good are any predictions? Let's check back in with a couple of our brave forecasters.
I am Reggie C. I am 40 years old. Wasn't 40 yet when we last talked, if I remember correctly.
Reggie is a cost of living listener, recently 40, and new to making investing forecasts. Our next prognosticator is
Prognosticator.
I'm Carl Shimada, Chief Market Strategist with Corpay. That would change. I was at Cambridge, which is the big firm. They just rebranded in the terms between our call and text.
So far this year, a lot has changed for Carl and Reggie. As for the market, when we talked in November, the TSX was at an all-time high. You may remember, the pandemic was ebbing, economy was reopening,
One red pepper.
optimistic for the first time in a while. I talked to Carl about his original forecast, and what he was thinking 7 months ago.
You know, we
One
were
red
really
pepper.
focused on that sort of post-pandemic recovery, really focused on what central banks might do next. Geopolitical risk was on the radar, but it was definitely way down on the radar. It was more about trade wars than actual wars.
Yeah, you're right. This was before the war in Ukraine. It was before Omicron. We were kind of that little nice dip where we thought, hey, so the sun is shining, and then the sun is not shining. So when it comes to the TSX, do you remember your prediction?
No.
All right. Back then, you said this.
I think I'd look at a 20,500 number. So slightly lower than what
Two red pepper.
And why?
I do think that we've had an enormous run-up, and it's a situation in which we have a lot of good news priced in, not a lot of negative. And the reality is that, you know, we do have permanent scarring that has happened in the Canadian economy, the global economy, that will harm us in the years ahead.
That might be a hot one. I got some seeds in there.
Forward.
Around that 20,500 number, Carl. I don't know if you want to change.
No, but yeah, that might be also where we are. I should point out, of course, that I was right for the wrong reasons. You know, to some extent, that healing process has not been concluded. You know, we still have a lot of that scarring. We still have a lot of the imbalances. What has actually transpired over that period of time?
Orange pepper number one. Aye, shit.
Highly sensitive parts of the TSX, you know, particularly the tech sector.
So Carl, orange pepper number one. The TSX was trading at 21,700. He started falling to 20,500. Around where it's going. And if it's reasonably wrong, as he mentioned, it's what's happening today. In the US, the NASDAQ, which is made up mostly of tech companies, is off more than 30% this November. Amazon, Google, Netflix, Tesla, all making a beating. So those really numbers kept our Shopify. In November,
Orange pepper number two. Yellow pepper.
today, it's more like 60. So why is tech spiraling?
Orange pepper number two.
Rising interest rates for one. Like inflation, other investments look like bonds. And as more money flows into bonds, money flows out of riskier stocks. Like stocks. This brings us to Bitcoin.
Boy, I gotta pee.
Bitcoin trading was a roll. Surged to an all-time high. A single Bitcoin was costing $67,000.
Boy, I gotta pee.
Calling for the little thing. I asked Reggie if she remembers the Bitcoin prediction.
Did I say that it was going to go up?
You did say it was going to go up.
One yellow pepper with some seeds. Gonna be a spicy one.
And all I keep hearing about is how
One yellow pepper
much
with some seeds. Gonna be a spicy one.
I don't want to go wild and say 93.
Turns out that's pretty long.
I gotta pee.
This is probably due to, again, a shift in how investors look at risk. Finding interest rates on forecasts.
All right, I gotta pee.
The third forecast we asked for, oil. And oil's been a biggie this year, for drivers and the economy. Prices were already moving higher in November, up to $80 a barrel. Carl called for a drop to around $70. Sorry about that, Carl. Oil, now around $115 a barrel.
I did not expect, the war in Ukraine to impact global conditions. I did expect more production out of OPEC. I didn't expect the business sector or the energy sector to be so reluctant to invest. I think that's probably been the biggest factor. And, all of that coming together has meant that oil prices remain quite high and continue to move higher.
Back then, a war in Ukraine and what that would mean to Russian oil exports wasn't really on the radar. And this really shows the catch-22 of forecasting. Doing it is almost unavoidable. It can even be fun. But no one has a crystal ball. So we will get stuff wrong. Look at Carl.
Okie dokie.
Track supply and demand, monitor forecasting. It's still there. But a lot.
I've done a lot of research on this forecasting accuracy, and the reality is that, and you can quote me on that, if you were to take a bunch of monkeys and have them throw darts at a board, you'd be more accurate than the average financial forecaster. The reason for that, I think, comes down to a lot of stuff, but it basically comes down to groupthink. We all follow the same sources, we all listen to the same people, we all think the same thoughts at the same time. Those thoughts are embedded in current prices, and so what happens in the future is a deviation from whatever we expect today. And so I do always approach all of this with a huge degree of humility. I'm sure that I would have said, back in November, that he would not be asking me for forecast.
He actually did say that to me back in November. And yet, he still makes forecasts for a living. So I wanted to know, for him,
Okay, let's throw in the mushrooms.
To anticipate where the turning point might come. Providing a linear prices or no one did that, and I mean literally no one is.
Now I'm not draining it. I am not draining the can of mushrooms because there's some good yummy goodness in that water.
You use that forecast to help you plan and to build that resilience that you like.
we make plans for different scenarios all the time. And most of us don't do it professionally. Look at Reggie. She's an amateur. And yeah, she was way wrong on Bitcoin. But her TSX call was pretty close. She saw it dropping, and last month it almost matched her numbers. She also saw oil going up.
I had the thought, gosh, I got 2 and 3 ish. They weren't exactly right, but they were, they were right enough. And that makes me feel good about my ability to observe the world.
So what can we observe that will tell us what markets will look like 6 months from now? Inflation is a big question. Interest rates are going up, but how high do they need to go to rein in prices? And will higher rates slow down the economy too much and cause a recession? No one knows the answer. Not Carl, Reggie, or Start Throwing Monkey. It's like the ever-quotable Yogi Berra once said. It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. This is the cost of living. We have no idea.
All right, that ground beef is looking really good. Let's see if I can tip that there. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. now we're going to throw in some veggies. We've got mushrooms, we've got green peppers, we've got yellow peppers, and, sorry, no green peppers. Red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, 4 cans of mushrooms drained into the vegetables. Don't discard any canned vegetable juice. Use that. 4 cans of mushrooms into the vegetables. Don't discard any canned vegetable juice.
It's pretty cool. So a lot of them, like kind of like cowboy hats for Calgary. People love them. So they come in and they send us pictures of their own pets wearing cowboy hats. These are from actual our customers.
Okay, so we got the peppers in there now, and celery, and mushrooms. Now we are going to open up these cans and put it in here. Open up these cans and
16,000 followers on Instagram. But there's a problem.
put it in here.
Was recently hacked and started promoting cryptocurrency. And Jennifer LeBlanc and her shop, they're not the only ones. Yes, so it seems to have reached a bit of a fever pitch this year, especially in the spring. So I would say like between February till now, there has been quite a few reports that I've seen anecdotally on social media, and then just even in my circle of bloggers, content creators, and that who've lost their accounts. That's the computer director, a social media strategist. She says that many small businesses today rely on Instagram for marketing. It's really easy to use. You can set up a shop and sell your stuff anywhere. Something that was key to getting through the pandemic. And having those accounts hacked, it means I would say our online sales have been. Without that platform, it's hard to get the word out. Everyone does what everyone does with Instagram. After she was hacked, Jennifer LeBlanc tried to get her account back. It didn't go well. Jennifer could only reach a customer service bot, and it told her that she could have her account back if she sent in a selfie. And then using artificial intelligence, Instagram would try to match that selfie to photos on her store's feed. The trouble is, those photos are of dogs wearing cowboy hats. There's nothing. You don't even get a response saying that we denied you or nothing. And there's all these tutorials online about how to get your account back. Like, and once we got hacked, people were like, oh, you've been hacked, let me help you. All happened. Business accounts are important to Instagram. They are a treasure trove of data about individuals and their shopping.
Hey, what's happening there? Uncle Mechanical, good morning to you. We're just cooking up some pasta sauce here today. Hey, what's happening there? Uncle Mechanical, good morning to you. How are you? What part of the world are you hailing from? Oh, it's Christian! Ha ha! Right on. Well, welcome to my channel. Today I am cooking. Other times I do music. And on a rare occasion I will play a video game. But today we're cooking. We're cooking pasta sauce. Homemade pasta sauce. Other times I do music. And on a rare occasion I will play a video game. Today we're cooking. Right now I just threw in the tomato paste. Tomato sauce. Right now I'm getting to the diced tomatoes. Right now I just threw in the tomato paste. Tomato sauce. And then that'll be it. I will be shortly ending the stream because nobody wants to watch a pot simmer for hours on end. And then that'll be it. I will be shortly ending the stream because nobody wants to watch a pot simmer on end. Now we'll add a little bit of powder here. Here, Kelowna. Sure, man. You're always welcome to stick around. I'm not going away immediately soon. I'll be on for, oh, I don't know, maybe an hour. Sure, man. You're always welcome to stick around. I'm not going away immediately soon. Now I'm going to mix the sauce in, that powder. I'm going to mix that flavor in before I add it. I'm going to mix the sauce in, that powder. I'm going to mix that flavor in before I add it.
The only time I could nab her for an interview was on a Friday night. When I showed up at her house, she had just finished prepping more meals for next week and roses in her garden. And you know, she's young, and for many people her age, Friday nights are for the patio, having a couple beers with your friends, catching up. But that just isn't what it is for Kelsey.
Not a lot of days off, not a lot of fun activities, and when you meet people, it's like, hey, you want to come over and do laundry with me? Or just like, sit and we'll catch up, but I can't stop moving because I don't have the time.
Coming over for laundry is not kind of super fun.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone really loves folding laundry on a Friday night. And Kelsey is doing all these sucky chores in her free time because she's single and she only has one income coming in. She owns a house, bought it 5 years ago when interest rates were low. Her mortgage just came up for renewal, and as we all know, interest rates have gone up.
Yep.
But that's not all.
Then it was the electricity bill. And that didn't just go up, it doubled. And when I bought my car 10 years ago, I could fill it for under 30. And now it's almost over 60.
Yep.
It's just all of those little things that add up.
Cost a lot of money these days. What can you do about it, right? It does. It is yummy there, Christian. I make some real world famous pasta sauce here, I'll tell you what. Now, that's just the orange, red, and yellow peppers, celery, and 2 1/4 kilograms of browned ground beef, and a lot of spices. And then over here is my homemade sauce. You saw me pouring it in there. I didn't know your mother was Italian. Makes sense, actually, because she was a fiery woman. Is my homemade sauce. You saw me pouring it in there. I didn't know your mother was Italian. Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's always a chair at my table for you, Christian. Always a pot of coffee on the stove. Always a dinner chair at the table. Always a plate of food. Always. Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's always a chair at my table for you, Christian. Always a pot of coffee on the stove. Always a dinner chair at the table. All right, now we're just going to stir it all up. And now it's just going to simmer. It's going to simmer for about at least 2 hours. At least 2 hours it's going to simmer. I like to let it simmer until I go to bed, pretty much. Just really on low heat, bubbling away. At least 2 hours. At least 2 hours it's going to simmer. I like to let it simmer until I go to bed, pretty much. Just really on low heat, bubbling away. Well, I think I'm going to turn the camera a little bit over there. And I'm going to run the water, so it's going to get a little noisy here. Just going to put away some of the dishes I washed earlier. Oh.